Yo, what's good guys? So today I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about DJing Riddim. Right here I have an FLX10. I'm not going to be breaking down this board specifically. I'm going to act like you guys own this thing. This is a DDJ 400. It's a little more basic and a little bit cheaper. This thing's about $1,600 to $1,700. That at the time, which the FLX4 is basically an updated version of this. I think it's like $300 now or whatever. I want to make this video as bare bones as possible, but it's teaching you things to level you up right away. So after this video, you're gonna know how to DJ Riddim. You're gonna know how to pull up to the venue, be chopping up some Riddim on some CDJ 2000s. I'm not gonna refer anything to 3000s because I haven't personally played on those, but I have played on CDJ 2000 Nexus 2s. So that's what I'm going to be referring to when I say CDJs through this entire video, so just keep that in mind. This video does have a format to it. I'm going to be starting off with literally just finding free downloads on SoundCloud to finally being able to put an entire set together with doubles and everything that you need to know. So if you guys want to skip through that, all the chapters are listed down below. So go ahead and skip through it. If you already know how to find free downloads or you know how to export your songs to a USB, just skip past it. Obviously, that part's not meant for you. The reason I titled this Everything You Need to Know About DJing Riddim is because I'm going to teach you specifically how to DJ Riddim or tear out or dubstep. Yes, Riddim is such a broad name now that yes, people obviously understand what exactly Riddim is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the music that I play in this video isn't considered Riddim to you, but it's broad enough of a term where you're going to understand what I'm going to be playing on these decks today and the free downloads that I will be finding. But yeah, all the controversy aside for what you guys think Riddim actually is, I honestly don't care what it is. It's just a genre and it's stupid music anyways. So we're going to move past that and we're going to go find some free downloads on SoundCloud and we'll keep this video going. Let's go! Alright, so I got SoundCloud pulled up right now. I'm going to show you guys how I find my free downloads most of the time, unless I just randomly run into one. So I'm going to type in one of my favorite artists, which it's either Murata or Sisto. I'm just going to go with Sisto because I think he has a little more likes on his SoundCloud. What I do is I go onto some of my favorite artists' likes on SoundCloud, and you can just scroll through right here. Zoinks, Freebie. So I'm gonna keep looking. This song was fire. I just want to kind of show you guys some examples and I'll get into it more and more. So right here, alright, so let's say I like that. Go ahead, download the track. Simple as that. So you'll probably be pulled up to Hype Edit. Let's go ahead and type in my name and my email, bingo bango bongo, drop a comment, you'll get this pop-up. Just click connect and continue and download, and then it'll download and you'll have the track, and it'll also play a song every single time you want to download a track. Pretty much what you do is this for, I don't know, several hours. It gets pretty time consuming if you really want to like go in on it and find a bunch of tracks, but I'll just find 2 tracks, or I'll just download those first 2 because they did sound like pretty, yeah, they sound like they can be doubled, so I'll just download these 2. That's kind of the basics of downloading stuff or downloading tracks on SoundCloud. I don't want to like sit in here and talk about it for like an hour. So you can go into his following or whatever and find people that might have some free downloads. So let's see. So this is kind of what I'll do. I'll go into people's likes and find some tracks. This isn't free download, but it actually looks fire. Like this. So this is how you can find music. You just go through the artists. Let's say like I found this guy, I downloaded that, then I got this, and then you can go through his stuff. Look, he has even more, and then you can go into his likes, and then you got this guy here, Arctics. And this is fire, so you go into here, you know what I mean? You can just keep going and going and going. So this is what I do to find free downloads. If you're a producer and you make your own music, you can obviously just use your own music too. If you guys didn't know, if you go to your own track here and hit edit, you can just download the file from there, or you can just drag it from your computer. The reason like that specific setting is useful for me because I use a MacBook to DJ mainly. I don't DJ on my PC because it's like annoying and laggy. Like you hit the Q button and it's not fast enough. That's how I download my tracks if I don't have them on my MacBook, is I'll go onto my SoundCloud that's already logged in and I'll download this. I'll give you a sneak peek on this one. I'm fucked. That's enough. All right, so I have REKORDBOX up, and I was just testing out the USB that I had, so I already have this set list made, but I don't want to use it yet because I want to drag in these new songs. I'll make a playlist, so I'll show you guys how to make a playlist. So you can right-click in playlist, and then I'm just gonna make like a new title. I'll just call it DJ video, and then I'm gonna drag these two from my downloads into here. So once you drag these tracks in, you'll get this pop-up. Normally what I have it set to is around 98 or 108. Sometimes REKORDBOX can kind of like sense things or halftime and give them to you at like 70 BPM rather than 140, so you don't really want to deal with that. So I just go to like the higher ones because all of my tracks are either sitting at like 120 to 130 or 40 or 50. So I'm just gonna do 108 because I don't really have tracks that are lower than 100. And if they are, they'll just be like double time, I guess. So this one's already on grid, pretty much. And what I mean is the kick is on beat 1. So you got the fake out. So that's already on grid. I don't have to do anything to this one. This one, as you can see, slightly isn't. Because you can see the grid, and this is right before it. This is what I'm gonna do. Before I get into actually showing you guys like what the colors mean or how I set up my REKORDBOX, I'm gonna go in and change it from performance mode to export mode. Pretty much what this is doing is allowing you to set up your tracks. So all you have to do, hit grid, and you'll see it's already set to 140. Let's say like this was at 138, which just isn't right. Or sometimes you'll get like that from REKORDBOX. So you'll get like 140.6. So what you do, type in 140, obviously the closest one. If this thing was sitting at like 140.86, I'm just gonna round up. But if it was sitting at 140.4, I'm gonna round down, if you know what I mean. So just math shit, you know? Round up or round down. This is set to 140, and then I know the very beginning of the song is going to be on the grid. So let's say it's actually sitting like this or whatever, and you want to line it up at the drop. What you're going to do is find the kick, so you can just hit the space bar. You want to find that first kick. So you always want to line it up with the kick, and it's probably 90% of the time it's going to be the kick, the first kick of the drop. If it's not for whatever reason, just make sure to listen to the track. But like sometimes what'll happen is people will not have a kick first, but they'll have it on 2. So instead of it being like kick 1, clap 3, it's kick 2, clap 3 when they start out the drop. So you just listen to it and find wherever kick is on 1, pretty much. So you obviously you have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want it on 1 and 3 for the clap. Sometimes people can switch it up, but that's just how it is. Then I'll drag in my next track. This is a fake out. So I'm not going to time it with the fake out because most of the time, almost every single like bass producer makes their basses slightly out of time so it can have a good flow to it. So if you try to put something on grid on a fake out with no drums, then it'll be like this. Let's say like, oh, it's right here. Change this to 140. If you see, like, it looks like it's on time, right? But the kick is here. If you don't plan on doubling and doing all that stuff, then it's not that big of a deal. I would still try to put your songs on grid, and it really doesn't take that long. And if you're doubling tracks, you need to put it on grid. There's another reason that I'll explain in a little bit, but it's super important that all these tracks that you plan on doubling are on the grid. So honestly, just go through your whole set list and put everything on the grid. All right, so now both these songs are all set. The BPM is correct. They're both on grid. And then I can go over, check just to make sure. They're both 140 as well, which is even better. Export mode, we're all set for now. I'm not going to export anything to a USB yet. All right, so now let's say you found about 60 to 70 tracks. All free downloads on SoundCloud. You don't want to be ripping music, but yeah, don't hop on SoundCloud. And if it's not a free download, don't just rip it. Don't just rip it straight from that person. There's a very, very, very fine line that I would consider ripping music is okay. And I think, I mean, this is just me, but if it's not a free download and you can't buy it and you're willing to buy it, which you should buy it if you can buy it and you love the song, and you reached out to the artist on everything and they're still not getting to you, bro, I'm sorry, I'm ripping your track. That's the only time I'm gonna be ripping a track, if I really want to play it. It's a really good track, and I DM them on freaking Twitter, Instagram, Discord. Like, I tried to get a hold of them and I tried to buy it and I can't. Sorry, bro. I'm ripping the shit out of your track. Let's say you have 60 songs in this playlist. Let's say 60 to 70. That's probably a good amount if you're going to be doubling some songs. I'm not saying you're going to be doubling and tripling every single track back to back to back. So if you want to do that, I would say like make a set list of like 100 tracks. But if not, stick to around 60 or 70. Obviously, the more the better because you have more options. But also, the more you have when you're actually playing, it's going to be harder for you to like think, because you have to think about the crowd and you're going to be playing in front of people. You're going to be nervous. It's going to be hard for you to think about the good songs. So don't just download something because it says free download. Make sure you really like the track. So if you run into a pickle where you don't know what to play, like you just can't think, you can just click a song and you know that's just going to be gas because you have it downloaded. So that is that. If you download songs, when you're practicing, you should be practicing enough to the point where you know every single song in your set list. So it obviously comes down to how much time you want to spend practicing. But if you don't, if you're like, oh shit, I just got booked and I have to watch this video right now because I don't even know how to DJ, which I doubt any of you are in that situation. But if you are, just practice as much as possible, honestly. This is only 2 tracks right here, obviously. Just for an example of this section of the video, I'm only going to keep 2 in here. I'm going to drag these in, make sure they're good. You don't have to do this on everything. You'll see right here, BPM 140. Honestly, if I have the BPM set and it's 140.00 or whatever, 138.00, 150.00, that means like you're probably good. But just make sure you're going through every single track. Let's say you want to export this playlist and you want to move it over to CDJs if you're going to be playing out live, or your homie's throwing down at his party and he said to bring your USB. I don't know. Let's just say you get hit up and they're like, yo, bring your USB tonight. And you're like, okay. Like, I don't know what that means. This is how to set up your USB. So, and this is the easiest way to set it up. So I already plugged mine in, but I'm just going to take it out real quick. To take it out, I'm just going to hit that little export button thing, whatever. Wait an hour and a half because REKORDBOX is slow. From there, yeah, it's just crashing right now. You want to label your USBs, but I just haven't yet. So since we're on the topic of exporting, let's talk about USBs real quick. This is the one that I use. Some people might say it's good, but some people might say it's bad. I'll tell you why I use this specific one in a second, but there's options. Like, you need to get the right USB, and I will leave 2 options to a USB in the description that are probably perfect for what you guys need. We'll get into it real quick. So this is like the known guy. Everyone has these, but this one is the 2.0, which I'm not going to be using anymore because 2.0 is too slow. This is a 64 gigabyte SanDisk 2.0 USB. You can use it, and I keep this as my backup just in case, which if you're going to be buying USBs, just buy 2 of the same ones, label 1 main and 1 backup, or if you really want a backup for the backup, then get 3. I would recommend 2 minimum. For once you're playing a show and stuff, you need a backup just in case, because it's pretty easy for you to mess up something or whatever. Let's say you're playing CDJs and they don't read your USB. Happens all the time. Make sure you have a backup. And honestly, I'm kind of that, rather be safe than sorry. I'm gonna have 3, maybe even 4 just in case. So 4 is pushing it, but 3 is probably my minimum. Okay, so this was one of the first ones. This you do not want to use. I don't even know. I think this is a 8 gigabyte, and I'm gonna say it's a 2.0. 2.0s are just too slow. The reason you don't want a 2.0 is when you plug this thing into CDJs and you want to load up tracks and stuff, the time for your track to actually load up takes longer on 2.0s than 3.0s. I don't want to talk about like 3.2s, 3.1s. I've heard a lot of people say like don't deal with anything that's like a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Just deal with 3.0 or 2.0. So since 2.0 is slow, you really just want to go for a 3.0 USB. So this one, you don't want to go with this. If you found it in your room, whatever. I used that for the very first time and it actually ended up working, but it was super slow. This would kind of be your step up because the 64 gigabyte SanDisk, you want to go with a name brand. You don't want to go with some like Walmart brand or whatever it is. Maybe Walmart's good, whatever. Just don't go with some off-brand like Chinese one from Amazon. You probably find like a 10 pack of 3.0 32 gigabyte USBs on Amazon from some random Chinese company for 50 cents. Yeah, just don't do that. Deal with having to spend a little more for the SanDisk. You can get this exact like looking one as a 3.0, but there's a reason I don't like these. So now my next step was this. This I got just in general to use, but it's a 256 gigabyte USB, has Type-C and USB on it, and I think it's a 3.0. I think it's I think it's a 3.0. But 256 you don't want to deal with because sometimes it won't read that either. It's too big. You're like, bruh. Now I gotta find a SanDisk. I'm just gonna say SanDisk. Just stick to SanDisk. I don't want to recommend anything else because I only use SanDisk because it's like a goated thing. I was subscribed to like Infect's Patreon for a while, and I slid in his DMs and I asked him, and he said the same thing. So Infect told me I'm gonna say Infect's right because. Anyways, this is a 32 gigabyte SanDisk, Type-C, USB, but it's a 3.2 because I couldn't find a 3.0, and it worked, but still. I'm probably going to go to a different one, but this is the one that I have now. This is the one that I use. If I were you, I would go on Amazon. They sell a red... I'm going to leave it in the description, so whatever. I'm going to put the picture of it right here. Get this one. It's red. Sisto uses it. He showed me on a live stream. 32 gigabyte SanDisk 3.0. I think 64 gigabyte could be pushing it too, but yeah. So that's USBs. Just go with the SanDisk. Honestly, just buy a 32 gigabyte SanDisk 3.0 USB. If you need a Type-C, then try to get one of these. It's probably your best option, but I think a 3.0 is hard to find. That's why I got the 3.2. So we're done with USBs now. So I'm going to plug this in with the USB into my computer. Let's say this thing's formatted already. I don't really want to break down like how to set up the USB specifically. You pretty much just need to format it. I hope you guys just like kind of understand how to do that. It's not that difficult. All right, so we're gonna plug this in. Normally I would be doing this on my MacBook just because it's a lot easier and it's what I use mainly for DJing. I don't really use this for DJing, so I already have some playlists up on here. We got doubles, 10-minute set, 20-minute, whatever, extras. I got my set list of 2 tracks, going hard tonight. Everything's all set, like I'm good. It's just chilling on my computer right now. How do I get this off, bro? How do I get it off? Easy. Have your playlist set up, export playlist, choose, hopefully you labeled it, I didn't, mine's just F, right here. I'm just gonna say don't ask me again because you don't need to see this pop up every time. Hit OK, bottom left right here, exporting F, that's it. That's it. Now wait, the other thing too, if you have a 2.0, it takes longer to export a playlist to your USB too. So it's not just like, oh, it's 3.0, it's new. There's a reason for it. If you're trying to move quick, buy a 3.0. Okay, we're good. It's exported now. So if you want to check if it's actually exported, so you click devices and then you can go here and you'll see it. Boom, DJ video, the 2 tracks, and we're good. So now let's go over to the board. I'm gonna show you guys how to actually DJ. I got my USB. Now I gotta put it into my MacBook because this is my little DJ setup. If you guys see my videos or in the last one that I just posted for DJing, this is my little setup here. So I got my USB with all my playlists on it. Let's say this is your homie's computer right here. You're pulling up to the crib. You want to DJ. You're throwing in your USB now. I want to say this real quick. If you're DJing on a computer like this, you don't have to export from REKORDBOX. You can straight up just drag the song in from your downloads on your computer after you've found some free downloads or whatever, and just drag them all on a playlist, and then just like pull out the USB, whatever. Just make like a playlist on it. I wouldn't recommend doing that because this is gonna save all the data that you put in. So if you have a hotkey set, you're putting the song on grid, changing the BPM, it's gonna save everything in that. And the only reason I would say to not do that is if your buddy like has Serato and that's his only option and you use REKORDBOX, then I don't think that it's going to read anything you export from REKORDBOX. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing it's not gonna do that. If you can't even use your USB because you exported it from REKORDBOX and your friend has Serato, just drag the regular wave or USB into like a folder on your computer and then just like drag it onto the USB like anything else. If you want like pictures from your computer, just drag them onto a USB, same thing. If you're using CDJs or an XDJ where it's not a computer, you have to export from REKORDBOX. So I hope that makes sense. That's the only thing I want to bring up. I'm using a laptop. I didn't necessarily need to export from REKORDBOX. It's just good practice, honestly. So, because it doesn't just put the songs into a playlist, it's all like data, and it's formatted so REKORDBOX can read the track and everything, and all the data that you put into it, like hawk cues and everything like that. That's all I'm gonna say. I plugged this in. Now we're gonna go down to devices. Boom. I actually did label it. It's called Main DJ, but I labeled it on my MacBook. So, boom, and I got them right here. So, I'm gonna kind of go over the features that this has that CDJs would have, and obviously just talk about the basics too. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so if you guys don't know, I think I talked about it already, but this is an FLX 10. There's a lot of features on here that you might not have, which is totally okay. You do not need this board to get into DJ. I will say though, you should pick up one of these. This is a 400. The new one is the FLX 4. I almost said 10, but the new one is the FLX 4. These are fantastic, but I used to have the 200. That shit is trash, bro. The 200 is trash. Do not buy the 200. I love Pioneer and everything, but there is nothing on that 200. Like, I bought that when I first started DJing, and like, I outgrew it in a week. And like, I just started DJing. So telling you, just get the 400. This thing, you can go to the next level on this, but obviously you will outgrow it to some point, and once you outgrow it, I would recommend picking up either an FLX 10 or a DDJ 1000 or an SRT 1000. The reason I say the DDJ or SRT 1000 is they're a little bit cheaper. They're pretty similar. They don't have these stem features, which I'm not going to talk about. Everyone keeps yapping about these stem features on this FLX 10. Bro, find a video about the FLX 10. They're all about the stems, bro. Like, what are you anyways, the DDJ 1000 doesn't have the stem features, boohoo, womp womp. And they have less sound color features or whatever, but it's still a fantastic board. If you want to go to the next level and you want screens and your jog wheels, then yeah, do that. Okay, I'm gonna load up track 1. I'm clicking these. This is a tempo reset button. It just puts it back to normal. It's the same thing as like pulling these to the middle. It just means you don't have to do that. I'm not gonna break down the board. I'll run through the basics very quickly, but I also am gonna go through the effects on the songs for transition reasons. So I'm gonna go to a little transition section in a little bit. That's where I'm gonna be talking about most of the effects, but I do wanna break down the basics because if you guys just picked up the 400, I don't want you to go and have to watch a whole nother video on how to use it. So I want this to be an all-in-one tool to be able to know the basics pretty much. So you already know how to get music for free. You know all that stuff, right? Now you're at the point where you're sitting in front of your board, you got your set list made, and it's all perfectly set up in REKORDBOX. You're ready to go. Now, how the hell do I DJ this shit, bro? So let's get into it. The other thing you're gonna need is some headphones. These are Audio-Technica M50Xs. They're the white version, so I think it's like a W or something in there. These are probably your best bet. The reason I say that is because they're closed back. This is what I use for producing. These are DT990 Pros, 250 ohm. These are open back, so when I put these on, I can hear what's going on around me, which may not be your best bet. That may not be your favorite thing, but I love these headphones, but this is for producing. This is the only thing I use for producing. I don't use these to DJ. You can hear too much background noise. It's just like if you have AirPods, you put transparency mode on, that's these. Once you put noise cancellation on, that's these. Obviously these aren't noise cancellation headphones, but you can't hear the outside that much as much as these, bro. Closed back headphones, doesn't have to be these, but these might be your best bet. These are like 150 bucks. Yes, this stuff is getting expensive. Like a DDJ 400 is like almost $400. It's probably more now, honestly, because you can't even get them. And then like this is another 150. So, bro, this thing was 1,600. Like you're looking at like $3,000, almost $4,000 right here, just in freaking computer and DJ crap. I'm playing out Riddim, bro. Like, what am I doing? Okay, anyways. So right now, they're blinking because it's not playing. If I click the Q button right now, it's slightly set from the beginning of the song. So let's say like it's here. Now it's not sitting at the beginning of the song. If I click the Q button, it's going to reset the Q point. Firstly, it's set in the beginning of the song whenever you load the song in for the first time. If you decide to change it, let's say I put it to the next bar. Once I click it, now it's set to the next bar, so I can play this out. And every time I let go, it's gonna pause it. A couple reasons why you can use the play button. So let's say you wanna have it set, rather than using a hotkey, like setting it like this, click it, it's gonna play out, which is what you should have it set to because that's how CDJs are. It's out. You can change it in REKORDBOX, so when you click it, it doesn't play. You have to hold it and press play, but CDJs aren't like that, so just have it when you press it, because you want to be able to get as good as possible on a board. So once you move to CDJs, you can play that. So if I, at the beginning of the bar for this sound, if I have the cue on there, you just hold shift and get rid of the hot cue. Now once I hold it, you'll have it. You can save the hot cue point, but that's not really what I do. I always have the hot cue set to the beginning of the song. Also, another thing, let's play like, you can, yes, you can break it, obviously. That's how a lot of people break the cue button. So let me set this to a kick. So let's say I load in this other track on the second one and play it out. I can sit here and play something out like that. So that's one reason why you can use the cue button as a little drum pad or whatever. And then obviously play is pause and play. If you want to set like a cue point, you can put that here. You can go into REKORDBOX. If you just use 2 fingers, click on it, it'll change the color of it. You can set like 2, so like this, and then if you hate them both, hold shift and blah, blah, blah. There's one main reason why I use hot cues, but I'm not gonna get into it until I start talking about doubling tracks. So we'll move past that for now. Honestly, everything else, this is just effects. Like, I don't want to go over effects and stuff too much. This is beat jump. I have it right here. If you have a 400, you won't have this button. You can use these. This is jumping through the second song. You can go to the next page. So that's just skipping, like beat jumping. You're jumping the beats, bro. And then if you hold shift, you can get more options through here of these like lower, like this says pad effects 2, beat loop, key shift, blah, blah, blah. You can get all those. All right, so that's the basics with the cue button, the play button, and some of the hot cue stuff and the effects. Let's move on to the actual mixer section of the board. All right, let's get into the mixer part. So first, way down here, this is how you can go through the songs. So I'm playing both of these. If you have them set to being A, A, B, B, you can go back and forth. That's only if you have these set to A and B. These aren't on the 400, so you actually have to go into REKORDBOX and either shut it off, or if there's no way to shut it off, I actually like taped it to the middle. So if you by actually hit it, it wouldn't go over. I don't use this. This is me. Obviously, people can like have their own styles of DJing and they do use it, but that's just me. I don't use this at all. So I put these on through, so this doesn't work at all. And I just use these faders. So there's 4 faders because it's a 4 channel. If you guys only have 2, that's perfectly okay. You can do everything I'm doing with 2 channels because I did it. So this is obviously track 1. And then track 2. So you can play both of these at the same time. You want to be nice to your faders. You don't want to be like slamming them up and down like super, super hard, just going crazy. You want to be nice and fluent with them. Yes, you might hear a click, but you want to try to be consistent with it. Obviously, right now I'm looking through my camera, so it's a little difficult, but you can honestly like put your finger at the top too and slide it up so it doesn't like slam into it. But obviously, you guys can get excited, and like when you throw in your double, you're like, because it's like so sick. Just try not to do that. Contain yourself. Don't break your faders. Then we have all the cue buttons. This is where the headphones come in. So let's say like I got this track playing and now I'm like, oh, I need to hear what's going on here. You can hit play and hit the cue button. You can hear what's going on through the headphones. And then let's say like you set it up and everything. So like, oh, okay, I found this point to be good. Then you can go back. Yo, so that's how you can do the cue button and all that. Next is gonna be the effects. And I wanna go through these kinda semi-quickly. For some reason, like these are not showing up on my camera, but pretty much it says space, de-echo, crush, pitch, noise, filter. The only ones that are going to be on 2000s, it doesn't have space and it doesn't have pitch. It has de-echo, crush, noise, and filter. I'll run through these real quick. So I have this one selected. This is your filter. Noise just plays literal noise. You don't have to have a song going. Like the song's paused right now. You can just. So yeah, that's that. Then we have pitch. Just literally the pitch. Then we have crush. Just like bit crushing the song, and then de-echo. So that's what everyone uses to transition, which I'm going to show you guys for some transitions, and then space, which is right here.
Just a lot of echo, puts it in a room a little bit. All right, and then this is just the basics. I'm gonna run through this super quickly and then move on to doing some transitions with this thing. Lows, mids, highs for the EQ. When you guys get into doubling tracks, you want to be turning down the low of the other song. I'll get into that in a little bit, but that's really the only thing you have to worry about. The highs you really never have to touch. The mids, sometimes if they're pushing a little bit, and then the lows, if you're playing two songs at the same time, you don't want two subs playing at the same time, so you get to turn one down, however much that is. And these are all trim knobs. This is the loudness. You're probably not going to be touching these because the audio guy at the venue is going to be worrying about these, so you don't have to worry about these at all. Don't be touching these, bro. There's people that'll like adjust it because their song's not loud enough. Bro, you need all these to be the same. If you're playing this track and it's just not loud enough for you, don't turn this up, because then these are all going to be a different volume. So when you go to DJ, it's not going to be right. Bro, don't be the person to change these knobs, I'm telling you. And then real quick, this is just an in and out. If you have a 400, they have this, super useful. So if you want to do a beat loop, okay, so let's say at the beginning of the beat right here, boom. So now it's just going to keep looping. And with the FLX 10, the way to bring the loop in is by clicking it again. If you have a 400, this is the loop buttons. It'll say half to 2x. So that's how to bring it in. If you actually click it on the 400, then you can bring the jog wheel in to make it tighter. So you have this, you can bring it in or whatever, and then you can hit this exit button to get out of it. So that's that. That's looping. That's pretty much everything you need to know. At least for the FLX 10, you have quantize button. That is for the beat loop, so you don't have to worry about like perfectly timing it. Honestly, you're looping it, bro. Like, you don't have to be exactly perfect, because if you don't have this on and you're not exactly perfect with the loop, it's not going to be looping right, and I just wouldn't worry about that. This button right here, beat sync, is probably the most important button on the whole board. You want to make sure you're clicking this for every single song you're putting it. No, I'm just kidding. These buttons don't exist. Don't be using beat sync, because bro, you're learning how to DJ. Beat sync is setting everything up and lining everything up. Bro, just practice. Obviously, if you're main staging and you got like CDJ 3000s in front of you and you're hitting beat sync, whatever, by all means, like, you're probably playing a pre-recorded set anyways, but like, whatever, you're the DJ, you do what you want to do. The way I am, I want to learn how to actually fully 100% have full control over everything. If I need to change something, I know what to do and I know what's going on. If I run into an issue, I know how to get myself out of it. Beat sync is pushing you farther away from that point to be able to have full control over the board. That's it. Once in a while, if you want to click it, cool, click it, but do not start learning how to DJ with beat sync. I'm telling you guys, you're just gonna hurt yourself. Just stay away from it for now. If you know how to DJ, you're 100% confident, you're a professional DJ, but you're playing main stage, you wanna keep everything safe or whatever, you don't wanna screw up, then yeah, whatever, click it. All right, now getting away from beat sync and all that, everything about the board, honestly, if you guys just practice with the board, you're gonna be able to figure it out. I also skipped over the beat effects because I want to go over them right now in the transitions. This is gonna be the point where we're actually gonna be DJing, and I'm actually gonna be showing you some techniques that I use to DJ. This is probably gonna be one of the more important parts of the video. So if you're brand new and you just picked up a 400 or whatever it is, I doubt that you just picked up a DDJ 1000 as your first ever board. Whether you have a Pioneer or not, you don't need this exact board to do what I'm doing. I'm not declaring that I'm a fantastic DJ, but I have plenty of hours of practice to be able to teach somebody how to be a pretty good DJ. So we're gonna get into it. If I wanna play the song from the beginning, if it's paused, I'm gonna hit the play button and then the cue button. You can do it as fast as you want. If it's set here, like this, you can just hit play, cue, play. That'll bring you back to the beginning. Let's say you're going through some shit or whatever, you're playing out your track, you're like, oh my God, bro, that's gas, whatever. Your homie's like,
we running that shit back.
You're gonna pause it now, and then if you want to go ahead and, you know what I mean? If you want to go ahead and play it back. So that's kind of how to use that cue button to your benefit most of the time. The cue button, if you're gonna play the song from the beginning, it's gonna be set to the very beginning of the song. Then you go ahead, play it. Then you drop this, and then your homie's like, oh my God, that's fire. Wheel it back, wheel it back, wheel it back. Then you can go pause it before you start it and then hit the cue button. The first time you hit the cue button, that's gonna set it. So right here, I'll put it here. You hit the cue button once, that's setting the cue point. After that, now you're playing the cue point out, and then you hit play. Or another thing with the cue button is, if you don't want to do what I just did by doing that, if you play, let's say by accidentally you held down the cue button too long. So if I do this, and then now pause and hit the play button, it's obviously going to start again. So you can just hold Q, hit the play button, now we're good. So that's the cue button sorted for transitions and everything if you're getting out of like somebody wheeling you back or whatever. Let's go ahead. Let's get to almost the end of this drop here. Again, they're both 140. We already went over this when I was showing you like how to download songs. They're both 140. They don't necessarily have to both be 140. If you want to stack them, they obviously have to be the same BPM. But if you're just transitioning out of one to the next, it can be 120 to 140. There's a couple ways to do that. So this is the end of the drop right here. So let's say if you want to do some de-echo, a pretty basic one, what we'll do is I kind of start this one about halfway down, and then I'll bring this one about halfway down, like boom. So it seems like a pretty seamless transition right there. Same exact kind of format with the filter knob. If you're just playing this out, I'm moving this one to be a kick right here. Same thing, I'm gonna have this one set to about down halfway, drag this one down halfway slowly to transition it out, and then this one, bring it back up. That's just one transition right there. I'm still gonna go over a bunch of different transitions, but I just wanna say, you guys just have to practice and get creative to be able to get some pretty sick transitions in here. That's just a quick little thing there, because if I didn't, the reason I turned this down is so it's seamless to go into this one. So if I just play this, right? If I just played this out, kept that there, bring this down, then you can do that, right? But it doesn't sound seamless. It doesn't sound like it's one continuous thing playing. It just slams in, which is perfectly okay if you like that. But if you want to go for a more smooth transition in and out, then you want to go for something where you're putting this filter knob down, turning this down, and then bringing this back up to that same point. So you're pretty much just like planning, like I'm going to bring this one down halfway. So I know I'll just bring this one down halfway. Once it gets to that halfway point, I know it matches this. So I'll bring this song in and then bring it up. Simple as that. You can do that with space. You can do that with de-echo, crush, whatever you want. You can do it with any filter. Besides, I mean, obviously besides noise, because it's not changing it. It's just adding noise. So next thing, a very popular one. Let's go ahead. Let's bring this one to the pre-drop. So this is now set to the pre-drop. And I'm going to go ahead and play this one out. This is a pretty easy way to transition. Playing out, playing out, playing out, playing out. Boom. So that's wheeling something out of the way to then bring in your next track. All I'm doing is waiting until the last, I don't know, bar, and then I'm gonna throw it out. So if we just play it, playing, playing, playing. That's kind of wheeling some out of the way. It's pretty self-explanatory, honestly. You're just literally throwing this track out, putting this one in. It's pretty simple. Next, if you want to get like super creative with it, we can get into, let's just do echo for now, and I'm gonna put it at half. So if you want to get like pretty creative, what I'm gonna do is set this to 1, and I'll just bring it to minimum just in case. This one's pretty neat. So let's go in. I'm gonna start it on that first kick. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna also use this with a filter, bring it down a little bit so it's not slamming in, because I'm about to bring this in while it's echoing. So let's play this guy out, and I'll show you what I mean. This is gonna be a little combination of the first transition that I showed you in the next. So filters down a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. All right, now turn that on, it's on mid. See what I mean? Boom! So that's a little combination of both of them. You have the filter, you're presetting this guy, which is a new thing that we're bringing in effect. You're dragging that in so you can, you know what I mean? The main thing about teaching transitions is you're not going to be like, oh, okay, I have to do this exact transition. Need it. Like, bro, it's whatever you want to do. If you don't want to turn the filter down or you like space more, then you do that. Let me just go ahead and show you that transition again, then we'll move on to some doubles. Go ahead and play it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna go ahead, just turn the effect on so I don't have to worry about that right now. I'm gonna go ahead, drag the filter knob down on the one that's not playing so I can prepare for it, and then let's say, boom. So pretty much what I did is I had the effects on. That's up to you. If you want to just have it set up and then just turn it on, you can do that. That might be a little bit easier. So you only want the echo to come in once you're wheeling it out, so you can just turn it up. You know what I mean? So whatever's easier for you. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's all your personal preference. All right, let's get into some doubles. So I'm recording the screen now, bro, just for you, because the doubles, you kind of need the screen in here. So this is what's going on right now. You got this track. Okay, then we have this track. So the reason I'm saying this one can be doubled with this one is because they're both basic flows. They're both similar. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that they can be doubled. Not every single song will work like this. This is where getting things on grid is important. So this is what we're gonna do. First, we're gonna line them up like this. The drops are lined up. Obviously, this one on the right, or the bottom rather, on REKORDBOX, that's number 2. The one on top is number 1. That one is a fake out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, start both of these at the same time just to make sure that they actually do work. Okay, yeah, they're good. I'm gonna go back to the beginning, and I'm gonna go back a decent amount to a point where I can kind of remember to play them both at the same time. Let's just go ahead and do them right here. I'm gonna set hotkeys for both of them in the same position, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna set the color to be the exact same. So I know this and this are both gonna be the same. So when I have these on my playlist or whatever, I don't have to be looking like, oh, what colors combine? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. I know that these are both gonna be like a green color. So now, all I have to do, set this up, so it's like this. Once the fake out comes in, I can go ahead, transfer it over. Turn the low down to one of them because you don't want 2 lows playing at the same time, and that's it. Then you can just chop it up, make sure they're both in time. If they need to be adjusted, adjust them. It honestly just comes down to practice. Each song's different, and I can't just tell you like exactly where to cut it and all that. You just need to practice, but this is how I set up my doubles, because you need that little bit of buffer time, because on CDJs, for one, you need to know that you're a human being and you're going to mess up at some points, so to give yourself enough leeway to not have to throw the song in as soon as possible or as fast as possible or last second is going to help you in the long run. So I see a lot of people making doubles like this. So I'll pause it here, and I'll do this. We'll let this play. Then they'll go, they'll wait for it to come in, blah, 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 and then boom, they'll play it, move this. And then that's how they're doing their doubles. Yes, it works. You can do it like that, but you're not giving yourself enough time. Like, if you saw what I had to do all in that short amount of time, I had to click this, make sure I actually clicked it on time, drag this guy up, and then make sure I brought it back over, brought this guy up at the same time, and then turn it low. It's a lot to do very quickly, and if you're in front of a crowd, you're gonna be even more distraught and more nervous to do stuff until you start warming up or whatever, or get a few shots in you. I don't know. That's why I don't recommend doing that. I like the hotkeys for that reason. There's hotkeys on CDJs. There's hotkeys on these boards for a reason. Like, just use them, and why not make your life easier by prepping the track before it even comes in? All I have to do now, play this out. They're lined up. All I have to do is chill. Once it comes in, boom, I can throw it in, and then boom, that's it. That's all I have to do. Obviously, with practice and everything, you're going to be able to get it down smoother, but I don't have to stress. I don't have to, like, wait for this guy to come in. No, it's lined up. Oh, I didn't hit the play button. Oh, God. Like, you know, it's too much stress, and you don't need the stress when you're DJing. You need to focus on getting it sounding dope as hell. You need to be a good DJ, my guy. All right, I would honestly say that's pretty much, I hope I'm in focus. Am I in focus?
I think that's pretty much everything you need to know to really like become a good DJ. It's honestly just down to the practice. I tried to cover everything I could think of. Obviously, I missed a bunch of stuff with the actual physical DJing and effects and everything, but that's for you to try out, bro. You have your own board. Let's say you got this guy. You have effects in REKORDBOX that you can play with. Like, go have your fun with it, bro. You bought this board. Use it as much as you can. I didn't talk about like the selection knob and how to pick songs or whatever, how to, you know, I miss a lot of the specifics. This video, I'm trying to make more as an all-in-one video. I don't want to cover everything like super specifically. I just want to get it all out there so you guys can just watch this one. And then it's up to you to actually become a good DJ. You need the practice. Like everything else, you have to practice. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If I miss a specific topic or you want me to cover something very specifically about DJing or whatever it is, let me know and I'll make a video about it. But other than that, go DJ, bro.